All right, Nick, let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide, and let's talk about just how good Coach Kalen DeBoer has done this offseason of riding the ship, keeping things stable. And what we're going to talk about today is something that's been in the works. Everyone knew it's going to happen, but you don't really know something is going to happen until it actually pen comes to paper and rubber meets the road. And that's what's happened here. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about what this means on the other side. This from over on CBS Sports. It says, although Caden Proctor's return to Tuscaloosa was telegraphed, it's still a huge deal that Coach Kalen DeBoer and co. were able to seal the deal and return the Crimson Tide's former and now future starting left tackle. To briefly recap the Proctor saga, he entered the transfer portal in January following Nick Saban's retirement and quickly ended up at Iowa, his home state school. Then he told Iowa's coach Kirk Ferentz in March, a day before Iowa started its spring practice slate, that he'd be returning to Alabama and confirmed the move back to the Crimson Tide the day the spring transfer window opened. To make a long story short, Proctor, a freshman All-SEC selection in 2023, is entering his second year as Alabama's starting left tackle. Though it's overshadowed by Proctor's news, credit to Alabama for nabbing another big pickup. Miami, Ohio kicker Graham Nicholson out of the portal as well. The former Lou Groza Award winner will replace Will Reichard, one of Crimson Tide's most impactful offseason losses. Nick, I think these are two big moves. Obviously, Proctor is probably the one that people are going to know the most about and see the most on the field, but getting the kicker Nicholson as well is going to be huge for the Tide. I'm curious what your thoughts are, but Crimson Tide fans, in the comment section below, now that we've gotten into the bulk, spring portal has really opened. I think the majority of losses or gains have probably settled. There's going to be some here or there. Let us know. This whole offseason, give Coach Kalen DeBoer a grade of how he has handled everything since his arrival at Alabama to now. Let us know what your grade is in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts of these two huge moves for Alabama?
Well, I think it speaks to what Kalen DeBoer has done for the Crimson Tide, and you kind of mentioned it in terms of stabilizing the program, because I think that was the biggest concern and the biggest risk, I think, to Alabama handling this transition, right? Anytime you make a major change, whether it's with a football program like Alabama or whether it's a large organization in a business or even a government, right? Anytime you have a large transition, you're always worried about a talent drain, right? Are the best and brightest going to leave? And are you going to be able to attract the best and brightest? And obviously, when we talk best and brightest, we're talking the best football players. Look, Alabama, they took their fair share of lumps in terms of some guys leaving. They took their fair share of lumps in terms of some recruits decommitting and going other places. But a lot of credit has to be given to DeBoer and his coaching staff for limiting the damage, stabilizing the situation, and making a lot of really great moves in their own right. I think the kicker addition may be the biggest under-the-radar move out of any program in college football, and because here's why. With the expanded college football playoff and the nature of college football these days, it's becoming much, much closer to an NFL-style game. For anyone that follows NFL postseasons, field goal kicking 9 times out of 10 is what decides victories, especially against evenly matched teams. I think we're going to see a lot of evenly matched teams in the SEC and Big Ten, respectively. Those two conferences, I think, are clearly the best. It's going to come down to who can make their big kicks in big moments to ice games, to win games, and who's going to miss them. I think Alabama made sure that even though Reichard is gone, they've got a great kicker to come in and help them with that. And the fact that they're bringing Proctor back into the fold, I think, is a great move as well. But overall, I think Kalen DeBoer has done an incredible job, not only just stabilizing the situation, bringing some guys back in Proctor's case, but making some great additions as well.
Yeah, Nick, and when you look at their rankings, number 4 in the transfer portal, and that is largely due to Coach DeBoer. A lot of these guys came to school, but they stayed there. He was the deciding factor on that one. So I think that's a great job for him. They had the number 2, recruit rate class as well, but that's not so much on Coach DeBoer. But we look at the 2025 class as well, as far as people staying and not decommitting from Alabama early. They still top 7, number 7 recruiting class so far of 2025 as well, per 24/7 Sports. I think that Coach DeBoer, he's just done such a great job. I never would have expected him to come in. I thought there would be so much turnover. I thought he would be a great coach, but I didn't think he could stabilize Alabama this quickly. At first, you hear Nick Saban leaves, and you kind of feel like maybe Alabama kind of falls out of the zeitgeist of SEC powerhouses. But quickly, Coach DeBoer came in, stabilized the program very nicely, and now it's almost as if, Alabama never left. They're still there. They're still one of the top contenders in the SEC, and this feels like a team that next season is going to be competing for the college football playoff and potentially a national championship contender as well. I really like what we're seeing out of Alabama, and I like the job that Coach DeBoer has done as well.